WrestleMania 41 is this weekend, and the card is looking pretty good. It is a little bit of a mixed bag, but for the most part, we got some great matches going. I'm here to give you my predictions on who I think is going to win and why I think they're going to win, and we will go through match by match. First off, I do want to talk about some matches that are unannounced and could happen. So, Randy Orton is without an opponent as of the making of this video, but the two most likely options for him are either Nick Aldis or Solo Sikoa. So, Nick Aldis, because Randy Orton just RKO'd him on SmackDown, and then he's demanding a match. And this could just be interesting because we want to see Randy Orton win, and Nick Aldis can just take a loss and nothing would happen to him because he's just a manager. But the match would actually be really interesting, and it's probably the closest thing we'll get to an interesting Randy Orton match that is not Kevin Owens. And then Solo Sikoa interrupted Randy Orton, and while in storyline the match does make sense given Randy's history with the Bloodline, no one's really interested in it because it has no build, and we've already seen Randy battling the Bloodline for years. I have seen people online saying they could do an open challenge with either Aleister Black or Rusev for Randy Orton, but we don't want to see either of those two lose in their return to the WWE, and we want to see Randy Orton get a win on a PLE because he's lost every single PLE match. So Randy Orton's just going to win whatever match he gets. The next unannounced match that could happen is a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between all of the big 5 tag teams on SmackDown because they did a great job of building this tag team division. But for some reason, we're on the week of WrestleMania, and so far, they did not announce a single match for the SmackDown tag team titles. But there is a tag team title match on SmackDown, and what I'm hoping for is that all the teams get involved, and we get a bunch of shenanigans, and then a ladder match gets announced. So if that ladder match happens, I think Pretty Deadly would win because they've been building them as this underdog tag team that could just get this win out of nowhere. So I think Pretty Deadly would win the ladder match out of all the big tag teams on SmackDown. But it is hopeful thinking that we do get that match. So let's get on to night 1 of WrestleMania. First off, let's get into Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. This could actually be a great opening match. It is a perfect blend of high-paced, high-flying, and power moves that could just blend very well together for however long they get, because this could be a great 10 to 15 minute match, even though they could go on for a bit longer and I wouldn't complain. Now, I think Rey Mysterio is going to win, which will lead to the unmasking of El Grande Americano, which is not Chad Gable, by the way, but they've been teasing who El Grande Americano could be, and I think that at the end of this match, we will get that. So I think Rey Mysterio is going to win this match. Just a random little fun match, but I'm excited for it. Next, let's get into Jade Cargill versus Naomi. So, this match, it has been a long time since we've seen a women's rivalry that has no title on the line be this interesting. So, Naomi was revealed as the one that attacked Jade Cargill in the parking lot, and Jade Cargill took Naomi out of Elimination Chamber. And then this story continued on to the next SmackDown where Bianca Belair and Naomi had that emotional segment where they were just going back and forth. And then Naomi eventually gets attacked by Jade Cargill. And now they have a full-blown rivalry going into WrestleMania. I do think Jade Cargill will win. But if Naomi takes a loss, it's not really going to hurt her. She's just going to have to rebound because Naomi has been doing the best character work of her whole career. So it is a bit unfortunate that she's going to have to lose. But I do not see them have. Next, let's get into the WWE Women's Championship match between Tiffany Stratton against Charlotte Flair. So, I just want to say, for the first 2 months of this rivalry, nobody cared. They did not do a good job of building this match. Nothing interesting was happening. And Charlotte was just getting booed because they tried to make her a babyface, which made no sense. But this feud actually got interesting for the completely wrong reasons. Charlotte went off script supposedly in the promo. And it was just extremely awkward. These two do not work well together in segments. But the hope is that they just have a really great match, which I do think they could. But it seems like, as of right now, they do not like working with each other. So a lot of people would say that Tiffany needs this win a lot more. But I feel like it could be a good story for her to lose and then try to come back against the more experienced veteran in Charlotte Flair. And we always know that when Charlotte comes back, she's winning a championship eventually. So my prediction is that Charlotte Flair wins. Next, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. This match was just thrown together pretty recently with Jacob Fatu beating Braun Strowman in a #1 contenders match. So Jacob Fatu's story is that he has been having a lot of conflict with Solo Sikoa, and this could lead to the finish of the match where Solo could either cause Jacob the match or help him get the win. And I don't really know who would lose this match. It's really unpredictable because Jacob Fatu is on an absolute roll. The fans love him. But LA Knight is someone who's also loved by the fans and recently won the title, and he's extremely over. So it's kind of hard to see who's going to win. However, I do think that Jacob Fatu has a higher chance of losing just because I could see Solo Sikoa costing him the match, either accidentally or on purpose due to jealousy. And then LA Knight just continues his reign while Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa go on to have their feud. So my prediction is that LA Knight beats Jacob Fatu. And for the World Heavyweight Championship, we have Gunther versus the Royal Rumble winner in Jey Uso. Now, Jey Uso winning the Rumble was a complete curveball, and a lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, a lot of people didn't know what to feel about it and just wanted it to play out and see what happens. And at first, this rivalry had nothing going for it. Nobody was interested. But then that all changed when Jimmy Uso got involved because Jey is the most interesting in his character when family gets involved. And as soon as family got involved, we were all invested. Gunther ended up destroying Jimmy Uso, and that brought out all the emotion in Jey. And Jey was finally able to cut a heartfelt promo without just yeeting. And he was even trying to get the crowd to stop yeeting, and it actually made his promo very good because it showed off his emotion and it made him an underdog we want to root for. Now, I think Jey Uso is going to win this match because if Jey Uso loses again, I don't know if there's any hope for his character because we've already seen him lose championship matches, and it's not like him losing again is just going to make him a bigger underdog. We've already seen that happen a bunch of times with Jey Uso. So I think for the sake of the story, Jey Uso is going to have to win this match. But it is unfortunate for Gunther because throughout his whole reign, he has not been able to show off his best attributes as being a monster heel, and they just made him a monster heel in this feud right here. But I do think with all that said, Jey Uso is going to win. And then in the night one main event, we have Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Now, it is very rare we get a triple threat that has no stakes on the line. Not a #1 contenders match, not a championship match. No stakes, just three guys that hate each other. Now, we already knew the rivalry of CM Punk. We knew the rivalry between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. But there was nothing really there for Roman Reigns and CM Punk to hate each other. But now that Paul Heyman ended up being in part of the favor where CM Punk takes Paul Heyman into his corner, we now have a hatred between Roman Reigns and CM Punk that makes sense, and it completely ties this triple threat together. So CM Punk is finally getting his WrestleMania main event that he has always wanted, and it's against two of the biggest stars in the company. Now, even though that Roman Reigns and CM Punk makes sense as the winner, and no one is really looking at Seth Rollins as the biggest star in this match, I do think Seth Rollins is going to win because Paul Heyman is going to have to choose between Seth Rollins, or not Seth Rollins. He's going to have to choose between Roman Reigns or CM Punk. And this is probably going to lead to some miscommunication where Seth Rollins ends up taking the advantage. So my prediction is that Seth Rollins wins this match. All right, now let's get into night 2 of WrestleMania. So first off, let's go AJ Styles and Logan Paul. Now this feud has had literally nothing going for it besides Andrew Schultz and Logan Paul having a segment, then AJ Styles comes out to save him. But I will say this match is probably just going to be a banger, and that's the only reason I'm excited for it. Logan Paul always has bangers against these legends at WrestleMania, and honestly, I can't even think of a bad Logan Paul match, so you pair that with AJ Styles, this match is just going to be a banger. But I do think Logan Paul is going to win just because they're probably just going to want to push Logan Paul into a bigger spot, and AJ is getting older, and I don't see him winning this match against Logan. Next, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a Sin City street fight. Now, Damian Priest eliminated Drew at the Rumble, then eliminated him at Elimination Chamber. And it was clear nobody wanted this feud, especially for Drew McIntyre, because Drew McIntyre had the best year of his career in 2024. And it seemed like he was just getting the short end of the stick in terms of all the main eventers for a WrestleMania feud. Because nothing against Damian Priest, but it is nowhere near as interesting as a match against Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and nothing like that. But I have to say, they've done a great job at building this match, and with what Drew McIntyre and Damian were given, they made the most out of it and made this feud as interesting as possible. And this being a street fight definitely elevates the match into something that I'm interested in. Now, I think Drew has to win this match. Please, WWE, Drew McIntyre needs this win. He cannot take a loss to Damian Priest here. So I'm going with Drew McIntyre. The Women's Tag Team Championship match between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. I think Liv and Raquel are going to win. This match has no story to it. It's against a team that was literally just thrown together for no reason in Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, when they literally just had a banger of an IC title match that should have been on WrestleMania. And this match is just here so that they can get Liv Morgan on the card, because there was no way they were going to leave her out. So I just think Liv and Raquel are going to retain, because there's no story for a tag team like Bayley and Lyra to win. The Intercontinental Championship match between Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Now, at first, this match was going to be Braun Breaker versus Penta, but then Finn Balor got inserted into the rivalry, and then Dominic got inserted into this match as well. And this match looks great because there's a lot of great talent. I think Finn Balor is going to be Pin Balor again. He's taking the pin, but to who? So, Braun Breaker, he would be an obvious winner just because he's so dominant in the mid-card, and he's just beating everybody, and he's the next big thing in the WWE. Penta, he's relatively new to the WWE. Well, he is really new to the WWE, so they could try to give him an early push, but I don't see him winning. And Dominic Mysterio, I could see him winning. I do think Dominic Mysterio is going to win. That is my prediction. Dom will win. He's going to end up pinning Finn Balor off of probably Braun Breaker spearing Finn, and then Dominic just picks up the win like a slimy heel. But they've been playing the story that Dominic is not good enough to win anything on his own, and Finn Balor had just been playing him down in the Judgment Day. So it would make sense in the story for Dominic Mysterio to pin Finn Balor, and then Braun Breaker and Pence can go ahead and do bigger things outside of the IC title picture. So my final prediction for this match, Dominic Mysterio wins. Triple threat women's championship match between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Now, we just thought this match would be Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair after Bianca Belair won Elimination Chamber. But Io Sky pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the year by beating Rhea Ripley the next night on Raw for the Women's Championship. And now we got this triple threat match where Rhea Ripley just inserted herself into it just because she wanted to be a part of this match. And this match is just going to be a banger. These women have great chemistry together. They always have great matches against each other. So there's no way this match is going to be bad. Now, the story that they've been going for is that Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair are focusing on each other and then just neglecting Io Sky. And Io took that very personally, and now she's just elevated herself. And now there's not really a heel in this match, but Rhea Ripley is pretty much trying to play the heel. However, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are not getting booed, and for no reason at all, it seems the crowd is booing Bianca Belair, even though Bianca is completely in the right, and nothing she said or has done is wrong, because she rightfully earned this spot. So Rhea Ripley should be the heel, but no one wants to boo her. Now, I think the story where Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley are focusing on each other and not even paying attention to Io will come back to bite them. I think Io Sky is going to win this match because Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair just can't focus on Io and just focus on each other. And then Io Sky is going to pick up the win right here. Now, in the Night 2 main event of WrestleMania, the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes takes on John Cena, looking to win his 17th world title. Now, when John Cena won the Elimination Chamber, I'm talking right then and there, we thought it would just be babyface Cody Rhodes, babyface John Cena, bland story, but we're going to be excited for John Cena to go for the 17th world title. However, John Cena sided with The Rock, sold his soul, and turned heel on everybody. He turned heel on himself, he turned heel on the fans, turned heel on Cody, everyone. And now this match is way more interesting as we have an actual babyface Cody Rhodes against the biggest heel in wrestling with John Cena. Now, I think John Cena is getting that 17th world title here because there's no way John Cena is turning heel, which is like the most monumental moment that we've seen in wrestling in the past 20 years, and they don't pull the trigger. There's no way that's happening. So I think John Cena wins this match. And do The Rock or Travis Scott get involved? I don't know, but I feel like it would just be weird for Travis Scott to not get involved because he was a part of a moment that's going to live in wrestling forever. And if they don't have him involved, it's just like, what did you have him in this monumental moment for? Yes, it would have been better if he wasn't there. to begin with, but since he was a part of it, you can't just leave him out now. It's such a monumental moment. So they might have bit themselves in the foot by having Travis Scott there for no reason. And The Rock, like, I don't even know because they barely mentioned The Rock in this story, but he's such a big part of it. I'd imagine he has to play some role. And we might get Stone Cold, but, like, that's not a guarantee. But it would be cool just to see Stone Cold and The Rock have another face-off, have John Cena and Stone Cold have a face-off. But after all that, I think John Cena is winning this match. So, those are my predictions for WrestleMania 41. Let me know your predictions in the comments, and I'll see you next time.